What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to find out how my relationships are going to be absolutely obliterated by my language challenges. We're going to watch this video together. How a language experiment ruined my relationship, and this is from Canto to Mando, so I'm assuming he speaks Cantonese and he's learning Mandanese. I don't know why I said it like that. But anyway, let's watch this video and be prepared to be traumatically hit with all of his personal problems and to feel really, really awkward.
Imagine finally finding love, only to lose it to something as stupid as a language experiment. So
how we going, my man? We still got love? I know, we're eternal, bro. We're eternal. Nothing's gonna happen between us.
what is language experiment? Well, before I tell you that, we have to understand a bit about what happened. So growing up, I never really dated. The longest relationship I ever had was 2 months long, which I could never find love. All the girls I liked never liked me. Can you believe it? This hunk of a guy couldn't find a... I'm just kidding. I wasn't that much of a hunk back then. I'm not that much of a hunk now. But going back to it, I could never find love. All the girls I liked just never liked me back. But in my second year of university, I met a girl who actually liked me back. And since I can't actually expose my ex-girlfriend right now, we'll call her Mikasa. We started dating, and when we did, I was 100% committed to this relationship. I thought she was just like me. I remember we bonded on so many things, like similar experiences, upbringings, you know the deal, like we're all Canadian, Chinese American.
I feel like we're in therapy right now. And if we're in therapy, shouldn't we also have her here? Like, we'll have all three. We'll have you, her, and the language experiment. We'll bash this out. We'll figure it out as a team. Unless she doesn't want to take part, then it's just one-on-one therapy.
But I remember what stood out to me was how smart she was. She was the first ever ABC CBC I've ever met that speaks 100% fluent Chinese.
For those who don't know what an ABC is, like here in Australia, it literally means Australian-born Chinese. But in America, it means American-born Chinese. And if it's SABC, then it's South African-born Chinese. And then if it's... Let's just come up with some random one. EBC would be Egyptian-born Chinese, Estonian-born Chinese. I'm trying to think of another country that starts with E. I can't think of it right now. Eritrean-born Chinese.
Like, I'm not saying like broken, recited like 新年快乐, 身体健康 kind of thing, like New Year stuff. I mean that she was the first ever person who was 100% like born and from North America, but fluent in Chinese. Like, I've never met someone like that. And so we just started dating, and things were really great at first. We rarely fought, and we got along super well. She was so smart, like probably to this day still one of the smartest people I ever met. And on paper, like, I thought we were a perfect match, honestly. In my head, I thought to myself,
I feel like this is almost, in some ways, like an open letter being, please, come back, you were the best. It's probably not, but like, I couldn't see myself making a video like this.
wow, she is my partner, and she's gonna continue to be the right partner for me. And so I was really happy. But there was one problem that challenged our whole relationship. And that was after a year of dating, I'd be meeting her parents. Honestly, going in, I felt really confident. Because growing up, like whenever I met my mom's friends or my aunties and stuff, they're always like, oh, your son is so amazing, he's in engineering. Oh, your son is so smart, you know, he speaks French as well. I was always...
You know, like, I got some pretty fucking awesome stories around when I first met my in-laws. For those who don't know, my wife is Chinese, okay, and they don't speak English. So, and in fact, when I first met my wife, I didn't speak Chinese. Like, I fucking didn't even know what Chinese was realistically. Like, I knew it was a country. Well, China's a country. Like, I knew, like, about that much. That's pretty much the extent of my knowledge. And, like, a little bit of information, you know, Beijing, whatever. So, like, when I first met them and when she first met my parents, okay, my interactions went great. But when she first met my parents, bruh, there is some stories right there. Because I'm a country boy. She's a city girl. And let's just say I introduced her to the highly advanced technology of an Australian drop toilet. And boy, oh boy, did that go fun. I'll leave that for another day.
Always like the kid to brag about. I remember walking into that dinner feeling just, I got it in the bag. Parents love me. Give you guys context. This was her parents' first time seeing their daughter in 6 months because she was in university, and she's gonna be bringing a completely new boyfriend. So I went in confident. And by the way, going in, you know, I'd done, you know, some Duolingo Chinese practice. I'd done some, like, you know, a little bit of Mandarin learning here and there. 我喜欢吃苹果. You know, I got my thing together, all right? I went in confident to meet her family with my Duolingo Chinese, ready to tell them about how 我喜欢苹果 and 我要一个姐姐.
He's really messing with it.
And then, when I met them, in an instant, I was bombarded by super fast Mandarin that sounded like complete gibberish from every single direction.
You know, this would probably been worse for him because, like, for my in-laws, they look at me, I'm white. They're like, well, clearly he doesn't speak Chinese. They look at him and they're like, you're Asian, you Chinese, you must speak Chinese. Like, that's pretty much how it probably happened in their heads. You must speak Chinese, you are Asian.
I was like, all this, then I was just like, ni hao? Wadiao Sheldon. I remember sitting at that dinner table so awkwardly, looking around seeing that, like, although we were all Chinese at a dinner table, we just had the world's most awkward interaction. The rest of the night just jumped between pretty much my girlfriend, frantically translating between us, and it all just felt so disjointed and unnatural.
See, this is where you got to get really, really good at using your physicality to interact. Maybe because I've done like a couple of sign language courses and I'm also fucking a trained actor. Man, I can communicate anything with fingers. Like, bro, I am the fucking master of the hand. Okay, I'm just thinking about like all the different other meanings of that. But okay, my point being is, okay, I am able to express myself quite well when I don't know a language. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there.
But actually, I'm not gonna lie, like at that time I left thinking, I mean, it was like awkward, but you know, on paper, you know, the guys in engineering, all right, you know, I left thinking, all right, it's not that bad, but clearly the Duolingo dallies aren't cutting it. So I started watching more videos online, you know, getting more like random basic Mandarin help, and just started listening to more Mandarin songs, like belting out Tonghua at our karaoke sessions. But regardless,
God, I hate karaoke so much, bro. I hate it so bad, and every time I go to China, they drag me off the karaoke, and they've got the karaoke machines there, and like, my wife and all her friends are there, and they're all singing their Chinese songs, and it's like, they're fucking amazing, okay? And they're like, oh, you sing something. I'm like, I can't sing Chinese songs. And they're like, oh, there's English songs here. Well, what about this one, like from Katy Perry, you know, fucking Roar or some shit? And I'm like, I don't know any of these songs. They're like, just sing something. So I just stand up there, and I'm like, Advance Australia. Just start singing the fucking national anthem, and they're all like, this is so stupid. I fucking hate karaoke, bro.
I could sense there was a level of disappointment from her parents afterwards, that like we didn't have the most in-depth, interesting conversation because they were speaking a language that didn't allow me to express myself fully. And you can imagine that this really wasn't the best start to my new relationship with her family. But I mean, I wasn't.
It's easy. You just eat whatever they give you, and they just go. You're like, you just get. I don't know. But realistically, my mother-in-law had that conversation with my wife, basically being like, you know, if you end up marrying him, we're never going to be able to communicate, you know, with him. And I was like, bro, I got this. I'll just fucking learn the language.
Her family anyway, so they left, you know, just back to me and my girlfriend, and we kept dating. At that time too, I keep working on my Mandarin. I keep, you know, playing around Duolingo, keep playing around the apps, keep like, you know, watching YouTube videos and listening to songs, and you know, hopefully something picks up, right? I even did a couple classes at that time too, thinking, you know, like, hey, like eventually it's gonna sink in. Obviously, as you date longer and longer, the more you see her parents. And every time I saw them, it was the same awkward story. I'd awkwardly say hello in English, and they'd respond in English, and then quickly switch to Mandarin to talk to their daughter, and I couldn't pick up. We reached about the 2-year mark, and after visiting her house 3 times, her parents actually expressed their displeasure about me to her. They didn't think that I was good enough for her. And so the sentiment caused us to break up. And honestly, at that time, I was so...
This is actually quite common in China, realistically. It's probably got very little to do with him. But over there, parents actually do have a lot of control over the relationships of their children. Way more than they do here in the West. It's kind of like a throwback to that time, which was actually not too long ago in China, where the parents would literally pick the partners for the kids.
I was so angry. I remember saying, like, why should your parents' opinion of me matter so much? Like, I'm just dating you. Isn't there a way we can, like, make this, like, it's like Romeo and Juliet, screw your parents, right? I felt so belittled and so small because I couldn't speak the damn language. I was mad at her parents. I was mad at her. I was mad at everything. So I went on my bad boy era. I said, screw relationships, screw all that stuff. You know, I never want to date again.
Is that Markiplier? Girls after breakup talks and shares their pain with their friends. Guys after a breakup, what's he got, a shovel? You gonna bury someone? I don't get this meme.
And I said, you know what? I'm gonna learn Mandarin. It proved to me that, like, hey, I'm not dumb and I can learn this language. Anyway, fast forward 4 years, but after going through all that learning to become fluent in Mandarin and, you know, going through my whole Chinese transformation, getting close to my family and close to my culture, and actually being able to really speak both Cantonese and Mandarin now at a really good level where I can actually communicate and feel confident expressing myself, I felt like I was ready to meet someone new. By the way, if you're a Cantonese...
Yeah, he should have so, like, mogged the parents, just gone down there and been, like, straight up in Mandarin. 现在我会说你的语言. And then just, like, I don't know, say something. Like, whatever. Like, just be a... I can't think of anything I'd want to say because I've never been in this situation.
Speaker, and you want to learn Mandarin and follow that path, I actually have a free guide that...
Oh, he's Cantonese speaker. Oh, well, that would have given him a massive boost.
You guys can check out, which is exactly kind of what I did and how I learned the language and how I became fluent, that you guys can check out in the link down below. Like, I no longer felt this barrier that I felt before with, you know, dating along my own race. And eventually, I was actually able to find a new girlfriend who was actually a much better fit, to be honest, and a lot of it had to do with me just being in a better place. And I really like this girl. I wanted...
Jesus, I thought for a second his new girlfriend was white. That would have been so funny.
it to work out so well. But a couple months in dating, same thing happened. She was like, hey, I want you to meet my mom. This girl's family also spoke Mandarin. When that was getting close,
Bro, you gotta start dating the Cantonese girls. What are you doing?
when that day was coming, I felt so much anxiety. It's funny because I remember when I first met my ex's parents, I felt so confident. I was like, hey, I'm this guy that parents love. But because of that whole experience, I felt like, you know, what if I meet her parents and her parents don't think I'm good enough? What if I meet her parents and her parents don't want us to be together? You know, what if I meet her parents and her parents don't accept me? They don't like me.
This would be a real concern. I could imagine this totally being a real concern. Any of you guys had this experience? Down in the comment section, let me know. Let me know what culture it is like, because it's fascinating how different relationships are between different cultures. And you know what? It's not just that. It's also the expectations of relationships is so different, okay? So like here in Australia, I was going to say the West, but I don't want to generalize too much. Here in Australia, okay, you come into a relationship and it'll be like a guy, it'll be a girl, and the relationship is literally between you two. The parents aren't involved in any way whatsoever. But in China, they're expecting you to literally put down money to like a bride's price, okay? And then besides that, you're expected to bring in property, vehicles, a good career, like it's really old school, okay? And then when you're in the relationship, it's very strict gender roles, very strict. And like if you come from our westernized society where that stuff doesn't exist, it can be really difficult to adapt to.
And the same thing happened. But I remember I was so nervous going in because I mean, the track record was over one. So scared that I would make a bad impression and ruin my current relationship, just like how I did in the past. Even worse for me, I'm a full-time YouTuber, which her mom, she told me, hated. Knowing that that was what I was going up against. Each insecurity, it felt like it crawled my way back into my stomach. And so we walked into the restaurant and shared our awkward hellos and we sat down. It was awkward. Her mom wasn't like the crazy social butterfly. She's not gonna force a conversation. She's not gonna talk, like intentionally go talk to you. Sat there, I was like, who's gonna make the conversation happen? And then I remembered, hey, Sheldon, you speak Mandarin now. And so I started talking to her. But 10 minutes in, I got her to smile, I cracked a joke. And then 30 minutes into our conversation, we started talking about Taiwan economics. And as we spoke more and more and we got deeper into the conversation, I started to realize
his Mandarin is clearly way beyond my own. If you're talking about like the economics of Taiwan and stuff, like, yeah, that's not a topic I can discuss.
something. You know, if I look back at my previous relationship, I used to think it didn't matter that I could speak her language. As I was talking to her, I realized how naive and selfish that was. Because it does matter. Like, I'm sure that my ex-girlfriend's parents longed for this kind of connection with their daughter's partner. They wanted to share the laughs, the conversations, and have conversations about the things that her daughter and her new boyfriend, what they've been up to. They wanted quality time with their daughter and with their new boyfriend, but they couldn't have that. They couldn't speak with their daughter in their native language to actually communicate. They couldn't talk to me and the daughter because there was a language barrier. The only way for us all to talk was if...
That's an interesting question. Did they overstep by basically telling their daughter that she cannot be with you? This is where it comes down to culture again so much. Like, if that happened in Australia, that is a massive overreach. That would be like, what the fuck are you doing? But like, then you go to China, it's almost expected that the parents have to give some type of blessing. And obviously it doesn't feel right from our perspective.
Their daughter awkwardly translated between us, which you can't really have any conversation. And so I realized that you kind of owe it to your significant other to make an effort to learn their language, especially if you're serious about the relationship. I was down.
But also if, like, I feel, because like his Mandarin's clearly beyond my own, like as I said, based on just what he said he was discussing. Like, if you're making an effort, they should have been seeing that. Like, if you're seriously making an effort, and it sounds like he was, okay? And if he speaks Cantonese, and like, within a couple of years, definitely he should be able to communicate quite well with them. So they were obviously very impatient.
The limited family that they had left. Like, if I really thought about it from her parents' perspective, they're only, maybe 50, 60, she still got 25 years left with them. But in her parents' perspective, they might only see their daughter 50 more times in their life. And who was I to get in the way of all those precious moments that my ex-girlfriend was spending with her parents? And so as I spoke longer and longer to my new girlfriends, I realized that this is what it's all about. Me being able to actually be there at the table, live, and actually integrate, enjoy with the family. It's the most rewarding thing knowing that I once felt like a burden, but now I'm actually included. And that I'm actually enriching the experience as a whole. Yeah, it was awkward at first, but I mean, what first meeting with parents?
I understand the point of this video. He's basically saying if you're in a relationship with someone and they speak like a different native language, you should go and learn their language. And to me, this is not a question of, should. This is just a question of if you seriously are in a relationship with someone, like, Wouldn't you want to? Wouldn't you have a desire to? And he obviously had that desire to because he started learning Mandarin with his previous relationship, okay? Like, I understand and I agree with him there, but also I really don't like it when the parents step in like that and cause issues, because I've seen it happen so much. And it's not just like, you know, with a foreign-born Chinese, then with a Chinese relationship. In China, it happens so much. Like, in-laws try to take over relationships. I've been blessed. I've been absolutely blessed. Mine haven't. But I've seen it happen with so many of them where they try to micromanage their children's relationships.
Are awkward, to be honest, right? And I realized that it was never so much about my job or my education or my physical appearance, but what was important in that conversation.
But it could have also been those things. If it wasn't this, it might have been that. Like, you just might have never been perfect. This might never have been even about you. You don't know. You're not giving us enough information to know. This could just be a shitty situation for you overall. So you can't let this type of thing hold you down and make you go through that rebel phase, I'm guessing.
Between Sandy, her mom, and I was that I was able to communicate with her mother. And so as we exited the restaurant...
Because, like, if you think about it, what has he done different between the two relationships? Nothing. Now, you might say, well, he's learned the language. Well, he was doing that before. It's just he's progressed further along. So if he was at the beginning of his journey with this new relationship, it might have ended up the same way. So, like, there's not any development on his part that I see that was actually needed here. It was already in the correct place, the correct headset, the correct way of thinking, and unfortunately, it wasn't the right time.
I asked a question that was bugging me all evening as I was with her mom, and I was like, do you think your mom liked me? And her answer was, I mean, she doesn't hate you anymore. And so if you're dating someone from a different culture, I mean, really make an effort to learn their language and traditions. Don't settle for being the one who must always be accommodated for. Like, it's worth it for your relationship and for your connection with their family. And your partner will never say this. Like, she'll never say you have to learn the language. But trust me, like, you're going to enrich those family connections.
You know, the funny thing is they'll never say it. And, like, for example, I've actually mentioned on this channel before where my wife and even other members of the family will always say, why do you waste so much time learning this language? Like, you could spend that time, you know, making more money elsewhere. Like, I'm fucking top percentile of income earners here in Australia, not like showing off, but like in Chinese family eyes, it's always you can make more type of thing. But like, what I'm getting at here is they will never say or show the appreciation so much until they're talking with someone else, okay? So I've gone to like parties or something, you know, with my wife and her friends, and then like one of her friends will like turn to her husband and be like, he speaks Chinese. Why don't you speak Chinese? And everyone would be like, oh, wow. My wife would be like, yeah, I know. He learned so much from me. And I'm like, bitch, you not teach me nothing. But it's just, you see the appreciation outside of that point. Because like that, I think in a lot of ways, they value their own language, but they don't see it as having this, like, okay, this is all generalizations, okay? But societal-wide generalizations in China is that something has value if it makes money. And learning Chinese does not have value for making money. Therefore, overall, it's not seen as something of high value. But obviously, it has impacts in other ways. Communication within the family, etc., etc. But I've met plenty of couples where the guy or the girl, you know, married into a Chinese family, never learned Chinese and it doesn't affect them in any way. I think this was just one of those rare cases where it did. Anyway, this was interesting. Just kind of because, like, you and me, not you and me, like, him and me are pretty much exactly the same, relationship-wise, in a lot of ways. Except, obviously, he's of Asian heritage and I'm not. So, yeah, interesting video. I like diving into these things. Let me know your thoughts and your experiences down in the comment section below. And I'll see you all in the next video. And make sure you sub to the channel, or our relationship will come to a very, very sharp end.